Previously on Outback Rangers, a raging fire has broken out, landing the town of Jabiru in grave danger.
If it jumps this track, then yes, it's a concern.
In this episode, firefighters battle the blaze, while traditional owners fight to protect Kakadu's sacred land.
Our land is our land. We are to protect it.
Even as rangers take on a dangerous animal. In this rugged outback, Kakadu's teams continue their quest to protect the land under threat. Jabiru, 3 p.m.
Watch your heads! Oh, it's jumped their containment line.
Fire Station Officer Steve Anderson and his crew are racing to control a dangerous bushfire. Strong westerly winds have caused the fire to jump the containment line, and it's now heading straight into town.
We're approaching the residential area of Jabiru. It's only about 100 metres away. Won't take much to be lapping at people's front doors, that's for sure.
Jabiru is a small town with just over 1,000 people. If the fire rages out of control, many houses could go up within the next hour.
Doesn't look good at the moment.
And it's about to get worse.
Not too big. We're out of action for Wild Tree. We're a flat. We have a flat tyre. There you go, train. Just go straight to the golf club.
With one vehicle down, the volunteer firefighters are left to fight the blaze on their own.
Keep going along the front here, Nat.
So Steve calls for backup.
Can you get in touch with Macca and Ryan? I need him to assist us at a grass fire at the Jabiru Golf Club.
Within minutes, reinforcements arrive.
You know where the number 4 is? Where the tee-off is. Okay. Go down and check that bottom line for me. Oh, let me catch your breath and I'll be right with you.
Mate, you better get a move on. She's picking up pace.
Can you see where it's going to come through?
Yeah, it's going to hit the western boundary soon. Get over there, mate.
Roger. Bloody hell. Things you don't want. Jump the containment line, then get a flat tyre.
Probably Eno.
We've changed the tyre and we're on our way. Easterly winds, what we didn't want. Nice and peaceful at calm 1 minute, and hell breaks loose the next. All the day's work, eh?
What you been doing? I'll land on the ground, change the tyre.
With crucial time lost, Steve must now come up with the next plan of action. Fast.
Where to go from here?
We'll get the rest of our crew out first.
We're limited with resources. All we got is these two vehicles on the tanker.
Steve decides to put a final burn around the perimeter, hoping this will keep the flames within the new boundary.
Everything out there's all gone, so I don't care. We've got a big area to burn. Start here. You guys follow up on that thing, eh? Yeah, just head back towards the clubhouse. The plan is we're going to put a huge big back burn in, about 3 or 4k long, to protect the golf club and the western boundary of the township. The other side of the windmill.
Yeah, cover that.
But the fire jumps yet another containment line.
Hey! Al! Hey! Ray!
Suddenly, the wind changes direction, to the crew's relief.
Wind's going virtually a northerly direction, which is perfect for us. While the wind's working to our advantage, we'll make the most of it.
It's all they need to get the fire under control.
So far, so good. Looks like we've contained this fire. Let's just say things might have got a bit hairy for a while.
Yeah, like a danger here, eh?
The guys did a sensational job. Yeah, long, hot, mongrel day.
It's all over, hopefully. We can all sleep peacefully tonight.
A few little hiccups along the way, but at the end of it, nothing's getting in now. And that's it, all tied off, locked off. Very happy.
Yum.
Hell yes. Go get something to eat, drink, sit down, cool off, shower, swim. Take it easy.
Thanks to Steve and his team, the town of Jabiru lives to see another day.
Good job, fellas. Think you guys earned yourself a beer, eh?
But the battle to protect Kakadu's land and its riches is far from over. Ranger Mine, one of the world's largest uranium mines, generating up to 10% of the planet's total supply. The uranium from the mine is used to create nuclear power. It is a resource worth billions of dollars. But the mine faced fierce opposition from the very beginning. Ian Morris, one of the first to train indigenous rangers, recalls this unsteady period in the late 1970s.
When I first started here, we had traditionally born people, people who were born in the bush, and then for the latter part of their lives, they had to join in with this very fast-moving Western impact. And all the way through, we've had traditional owners who have not liked the idea of digging holes in the ground and upsetting the balance of the physical world, the spiritual world.
For Kakadu's indigenous people, the threat is not just limited to their sacred land, but also to their family. They fear the park's water will run the risk of being contaminated, and that radiation from the water will harm their children. For one ranger, it's been a personal struggle to keep his land mine-free. 20 kilometers from Ranger Mine is Koongara district, an area spanning 1,200 hectares of wilderness, also containing rich reserves of uranium. Koongara was excluded from Kakadu's boundaries in 1979 because of its potential uranium resources. Since then, traditional landowner Jeffrey Lee has been fighting a fierce campaign to incorporate the land into Kakadu National Park.
The mining company that wanted to mine Koongara, one of the biggest mining company in the world. What the offer was here for Koongara, huge, big money.
The area is worth more than $5 billion, but for Jeffrey, the land is priceless.
This area here, you know, I grew up and thing, and my heart is here always. And it's not gonna go anywhere. And I've been walking around in this area here with my family. So everything here is very special to me. You know, that money, you can end up anywhere. You know, you could be a rich man, living in your country or living elsewhere. And it's not our way. Our land is our land. We're here to protect it, wherever or where we stand.
Finally, in March 2013, an outcome was reached. The Australian government passed a bill that lists Koongara as part of Kakadu National Park, protecting it from mining forever. It's a sweet end to a decades-long battle.
I love this country. Money don't mean nothing to me. Country is very important. Country stay here. Money comes and go. You make money. You can't make in this country back. You'll never come back the same.
For Jeffrey Lee, protecting his ancestral land is a huge responsibility. Over at the East Alligator Ranger Station, another ranger has been given a smaller charge. An orphaned small mammal has been brought in, and Sam Deegan must attend to it. It's a baby northern quoll, one of Kakadu's most endangered species.
We had 2 visitors that come in the park. They found this little guy here on his own with a bit of sand and dust in its mouth. So they brought it to the station here so we can look after it.
The northern quoll used to thrive in rocky outcrops all across the park. But over the years, their numbers have dropped drastically.
They are a species in decline due to too much hot fire, cane toads, people. Hopefully it does survive.
Sam is going to take care of it till it's strong enough to be released back into the wild.
I've got some supplies here, syringe, a special formula for it to feed. This is my little baby for the next few months. I'm going to probably be its mum. Makes me happy. I'll be calling her Jilly. Country is an important part of our life. We look after the environment here that we live in, and we need the animals too to live in as well. Hopefully in a few months it could look after itself, where I don't have to stick a syringe down its throat to feed it. Natural instincts should kick in. These guys do need our help to look after them. They are worth saving because of the next generation. They may not know these guys.
Born and raised in the park, Sam sees it as her duty to care for its native residents.
Harry, look what I've got. Look what Auntie got.
As a traditional owner, her relationship with the land is deeply rooted in history.
Well, Benning people, they enjoy this very much. Take the family out. They go to some places, well, most places where some people can't go. Like we have the public. It's not open to the public, some areas. No, we enjoy what we're doing here.
Surviving off the land in Kakadu requires a lot of knowledge. It's knowledge that the local people have accumulated over thousands of years. Today, those skills are still being passed on to the young.
Teach her how to fish. Sometimes she helps me get a wood, make fire, cook turtle or fish. She helps me a lot. Leave it now. That's the Saratoga.
It's still going to take her more years to be as good as her grandmother. Amidst all the activity, Sam makes sure her #1 patient remains her top priority.
Have to wake her up so she can get her feed. She's so tired. She's been up all night playing around.
You want to be chucked? Whoa. That's my turtle. Going to you and go to the turtle we just caught, we are going to cook it how we cook it in our indigenous way and culture.
Yeah, we're going to warm him up.
Rich in protein, turtles are a favorite bush tucker.
all turtles that in this billabong in our river system. We eat it. Got the pig-nosed turtle, long-necked turtle, short-necked turtle.
Juice of it is very just nice and rich.
70 kilometers away at Kale's Crossing, another crew is heading out on a risky operation. Croc expert Gary Lidner and his team are after a saltwater croc to tag. A previous operation the night before had failed after a storm forced them to abort the mission.
Last night was good practice for tonight when it's calm. So, you know, it'd be much easier, but lucky we've gone through that rough bit last night.
Spotty, first aid kit. Hopefully won't need that.
Yep.
Tracking a croc will help them to understand the animal's movements in the coming wet season.
Now, if you spot one that we want to go for, go up and down a bit quicker, up and down, that's it. And Andrew knows there's a croc there, right?
We've got firearms, we've got radio comms in all the cars and both the boats. Duty officers aware of what's going on, so we've got quick response. You know, if something goes wrong with a croc, obviously the consequences are pretty dramatic, so we've just got to think about reactions to that. Same thing, if a crocodile grabs someone, try and secure the animal and try and get him released.
Okay, just go slow, Paddy, real slow.
I've got enough water.
Okay.
Their target is a 4-meter male, a big threat to people.
Go and have a look at this one up here. He looks like a good size. All right, let's do it. Keep it on him, keep it on him, keep it on him, keep it on him.
Good job, Gary.
Neutral?
Yep, I'm neutral.
Okay, neutral, Paddy, he's coming for you.
This is your next harpoon, Gary.
Yeah, give me another harpoon line.
There you go.
Andrew.
Hey?
He threw it.
Oh, bugger. All right.
Come off. Oh, God. I got cord burn with that one, eh?
The Rangers are spoilt for choice.
He's gone down, head upstream left, port. Oh, he's off here. There he is there.
No. Go around.
Oh, he's there. He's on.
Still there?
Yeah.
That spotlight on the right.
Neutral.
Salties can strike and drag their prey underwater within seconds. The crew must remain vigilant.
We just got to find out where he is. There.
Lucky, he's a good size.
Yeah, I got him, Paddy. Okay, here, Collie. I got him now, Paddy, he's right. Okay, bring him up, Andrew, you ready?
Can I go?
That's all right, he might be too far away, that's all right. Yeah. Collie's back behind you now. Got him?
Yep. Cord's going out.
All right, yep, gone, got it.
I'll hold that, you go for it. Yep.
But the croc is determined to give a good fight.
Pull him up higher.
Yep,
Hang on.
hold him there.
You all right?
Gary must now secure the croc's jaws. It's a risky task. Saltwater crocodiles have the most powerful bite force ever measured.
Yeah, this is the most dangerous part of the whole thing with croc capture, is actually securing the jaws. You can see there's about 74 teeth there ready to go, but the tremendous bite power that goes with it, I think it's over a tonne per square inch. So the main thing is to secure these shut. There's a lot of power in there.
In Gary's 27 years of experience, he has managed to emerge injury-free.
What we've got to do now is hit him with a drug. Basically, pretty well immobilised, tied up, so we'll take him back to the boat ramp. put him up on the lawn there. Nice, easy workplace. So our transmitter fits in there, like that. So he's a perfect size. So the transmitter is going to tell us a story of where he's going to move over the next 12 months. And it'll be sending a signal every 2 hours to a satellite. And then the satellite will send that signal to us. And then we can see where he's going.
There's a lot of activity happening on the river. There's a lot of fighting. Everyone's getting a bit agitated. So when the rains come and the rivers start flooding, then the crocodiles will sort of disperse and start feeding on floodplain fringes, or just go venturing off into new areas looking for new territories, new mates and stuff like that. We'll be monitoring the signals. If it pops up local, might come out and have a look and see where he is and see how it's going.
That's it there. So she's ready to go. She's transmitting now and tell us a story. No worries, all right.
It's mission accomplished for the Rangers. Over the next few months, they'll track the croc closely to collect important data. This will allow them to better manage the safety of the park. In the next episode, Rangers continue their duty to maintain harmony in the park. But in this untamed environment, managing the wild is a constant struggle. And to make things worse, soaring temperatures that scorch the earth.
It's hot. It can get really serious, could mean death.
Previously on Outback Rangers.
Watch your head!
The crew find themselves locked in a battle with nature.
Head back towards the clubhouse.
As raging fires threaten to destroy the land.
Back there, train. Hey! Help!
And a 4-meter croc is captured and tagged.
There. He's there. He's on. Still there. So the transmitter's going to tell us the story of where he's going to move over the next 12 months, and then we can see where he's going.
In this episode, they face a new set of challenges. As soaring temperatures leave the land parched.
It's hot.
The Outback Rangers and park residents are feeling the pressure.
Quoll.
With the country heating up, they have to rely on their survival instincts. Goose Camp in the heart of Kakadu. One of Australia's largest gatherings of magpie geese. Park resident Patsy Reglar is on a hunt for some tucker. Key to survival in the bush.
No. I don't eat chicken much. My dad he was really good hunter. He was teach me for shoot. Every time I'm coming here, every 2 goose, they was knock him down.
Bush tucker like these geese provides Patsy and many local families with the food they need.
How'd you go with it?
Patsy's bullseye hits are so legendary, even her husband, Dave Lidner, is in awe.
Once you get their eyes in, it's an embarrassment if there's anyone else shooting around.
But this abundance of geese won't last long. The changing season will soon make its mark.
All the mud crack everywhere and no any bait here. They're gonna go somewhere else to find water.
December in Kakadu, the Aboriginal season of Gunumeleng. This is when the hot, dry weather turns humid. Conditions are tough. Wildlife and people alike become increasingly desperate for the monsoon downpours.
Can't wait for the rain. I'm looking forward to the wet season. Yeah, the build-up's pretty hot.
At the Darwin Bureau of Meteorology, climatologist Joel Lisenby is keeping a close watch on the monsoon's arrival.
Probably the most defining aspect of the monsoon is it's a large-scale storm that changes the weather across the top end quite a bit when it sets in. The monsoon is big. The monsoon is what brings enough rain to fill the billabongs till the next wet season.
But something's in the air to suggest that this year it's going to be different.
We usually expect the monsoon around the last week of December. This year, for various reasons, we don't know how strong or how long it's going to last. So far this year has been very dry compared to most. This cloud pattern is a monsoonal pattern where there's thick clouds across all of the top end. But we haven't seen any really big rainfall events.
A delayed monsoon is bad news for Kakadu. If there's one season you don't want prolonged, it's this buildup.
Buildup is hot and it's sticky and it's humid and very uncomfortable for a lot of people. There's so many things that depend on that heavy rainfall in December and January and February, and they're just waiting for the thick cloud to set in. For a lot of people, it's hard to deal with. It can make a person go crazy.
They call it mango madness. When weather becomes so unbearable, it pushes locals over the edge. End of January. Monsoon season should be well and truly underway. Instead, temperatures are still pushing 40 degrees, and the land is gasping for water. But the Rangers' work has to go on. Today, a team is heading out to locate and protect rock art.
The rock art in Kakadu is classified under the World Heritage Convention as a great artistic tradition. So we go out there as often as we can to look at those sites and make sure that no damage can happen to them.
Cultural Officer Gabrielle O'Loughlin is joined by Ranger and Traditional Owner Jeff Lee, as well as Jim Jim Head Ranger Kathy Wilson, on an expedition to the escarpment country in Jim Jim District. In this vast landscape of rocky outcrops, the search for hidden rock art sites will not be easy.
As you can see from the country, it's incredibly large with huge rock formations, and it's like looking for a needle in a haystack often. Here we are using a helicopter, but Aboriginal people were actually walking through this area, hunting and painting in the caves. The people that were living here must have been pretty tough. It's just incredible.
Kakadu has one of the world's greatest concentrations of ancient rock art. Thousands of sites have been recorded, but many more lie undiscovered. To find one, the team must venture off the map, a tough feat in this expansive outback.
We're just trying to locate a site that hasn't been visited for some time. We've got a record of nearly 5,000 art sites in Kakadu, yet people say that there could be up to 10, 15,000 sites. So you need to spend a lot of time on the ground, walking, just searching. So we need to travel with traditional owners who know the country.
Yeah, no, you can get lost out here easily. We've got to go this way, straight up, yeah.
You go first, Jeff. Good memory. For me, I'd have to go back to a map and record points on a map and lines on a map. But it's like it just sticks in your brain.
We don't need GPS, map. Me and I head all the time. You know the country. You can walk around with your eyes closed. I never get lost, mate.
Same memory.
But in this inaccessible sandstone maze, getting lost isn't the only problem. The temperature has now climbed to 50 degrees, and heat stroke is a strong possibility. At the Darwin Bureau of Meteorology, Dr. Lisenby is studying the harsh climate conditions, and the signs are bad.
The wet season has been delayed, and we expect later this week and into next week, it'll be very dry. You'll get almost no rain. It's been hot. The afternoon temperature is getting around 36 to 37 degrees every day. Very humid, but not enough rainfall to cool things down.
Kakadu's wildlife is suffering from this intense heat. With many inundated areas fast drying up, its aquatic species may be at risk.
See, but big, long, very primitive fish.
Naturalist Ian Morris and ranger Anne O'Day are on a quest for much-needed intel. First stop, Jim Jim Falls.
Quite often conditions are extreme up here, and today it must be 50 plus in this boat.
With the floodplains and surrounding billabongs drying up, all the fish congregate here. Ian has a rare opportunity to study which species copes better under these harsh conditions.
We've got 2 or 3 species of catfish. The one's called an eel-tailed catfish, and there are 3 varieties of those in here. Look at this Saratoga. And there's little tiny glassfish they call ambassus. There's a striped grunter and a spangled grunter and a black anal fin grunter. Grunters coming out your ears. And it goes on and on.
Kakadu's always changing. You just can't keep up with it. So our section of the park, we draw on the knowledge of the traditional owners, researchers and park staff, and bring all the knowledge together to try to work out what's the best thing we can do for this place.
It appears life is stable for the creatures at Jim Jim Creek. But for others, it's a struggle just to stay alive.
Wow.
South Alligator District.
Only with some ducks, all congregating on the last bit of water.
Rangers Khan Spokes and Dwayne Watchop join Ian as he observes conditions in a shrinking billabong. The tributaries from the river have dried up, leaving behind a rapidly shrinking pool.
There's not much water out there really, and it wouldn't be a metre deep in the very middle part. So, as you can imagine, in this temperature, that water is quite warm, almost the same as out in the air. So it's not a particularly nice place to be for a fish. Shining in the light over there are the undersides of lots and lots of dead fish.
The water levels start dropping. It gets too hot, the oxygen becomes too thin.
The barramundi and the large mullet, they're the biggest fish and they require the most oxygen, so they're the first to die. And there's one species of fish out there gulping air at the moment, and that's the ox-eye herring, or the bony brim they call it here. And they survive in this kind of condition because they gulp air direct.
There's a
few raptors about as well, a few whistling kites. Easy pick up for a dead fish.
1 or 2 crocodiles are probably here. They're not visible at the moment. We're going to have a look and see what we can find.
The brutal climate is taking its toll on barely surviving wildlife. In this dry heat, water is scarce, and this pool is one of the few sources for miles around.
Quite often, traditional enemies will be in the same place as well. So you can have things like goannas and snakes and things side by side, sharing the last bit of water, and in the normal times of the year, they'd be stalking each other. So it is an unusual time of the year.
With no sign of the hot, dry season abating, this billabong won't last long.
We've got some long-legged water birds, the black-winged stilts, and they're actually walking right out in the middle, so you can see just how shallow this water body is. So I would imagine if we don't get rain for another couple of weeks, it'll completely dry up. Then we'll lose a lot more things.
As the land continues to dry out, Dave Lidner has something else to worry about. The Asian water buffalo. Dave saw firsthand the damage caused by these feral animals at the height of their numbers in the 1970s.
Every inch of Kakadu that provided nutrition was pillaged, and the wetlands with their very high fodder value were laid bare in many cases. Wildlife like geese, for example, would have been greatly reduced to a relic species.
An intensive aerial culling program in the 1980s brought their numbers under control. But buffalo is still a favorite meat for locals, and Dave helps supply it to them.
Wait, Quoll. We eat a lot of buffalo. Rump, round steak, silver side, chuck steaks on. Shoulder blade, which is left on the bone, can be roasted or it can be sliced off. Is good meat. But I'll make a curry up tonight out of this. We'll eat that for 3 or 4 days.
Buffalo culling efforts have allowed magpie goose numbers to swell by the millions. More than enough for Patsy and Dave to help supply food to local families.
We get goose, we're shooting, like for people, like we feed lots of people, like every community. You see always delivering goose and buffalo meat. Yeah, because people like bush tucker. Myself too, I really like bush tucker. We always feed everyone.
The South Alligator floodplains. The arid land bears witness to the extreme temperature that's soaring across Kakadu. But the land isn't as barren as it first appears. Khan and Dwayne spot faint signs of life.
I see the mud tracks. When you see tracks like that, you know there's going to be crocodiles in here. Mud tracks with their belly sliding. When the water was still a bit deep, but it was sloppy mud, but they could still move around heaps easier. Yeah, this is where the last bit of water was. You can see where they were. You can see the walleye still there. Yeah, have a look. We'll just keep going up in here. We'll find them.
In this dry terrain, saltwater crocs must rely on their natural instincts to survive the extreme climate.
Oh, there it is over there, Kale. Can you see it?
There's not one, but 7 crocodiles cooped up in this tiny mud pool. An extraordinary feat of survival for a solitary animal like the salty.
That is fantastic. Under normal circumstances, salties are loners. They keep a lot of personal space, except for now. We're seeing aquatic animals using little tricks that they've learnt for who knows how many thousands of generations to avoid desiccation at the worst part of the year. Hey dudes, having a good day? They're not even savage, I don't think. They're defensive if they think they're going to be cornered, but they soon get to know you. I've had one this size clamped on my leg. We were capturing them for mark and release, and he bit my leg, and I just left him there, and he unbit my leg, and I hardly had a mark. I had a few holes, but nothing, and it was a croc that size. This is something you don't see every day. They've stopped being crocodiles for a while, and they've become door stoppers, and their main objective is to survive this dry time. All sitting around looking at each other and discussing when it's going to rain. Once the moisture evaporates out of here, which won't be very long, they'll be in a bit of strife.
It'll be a while more before the rains quench the parched land. For now, the only relief is from the passing thunderstorms that the build-up brings, teasing the monsoon with scattered showers.
These build-up style thunderstorms bring rain and bring relief, but it doesn't last very long. But they form just because the air near the surface is so hot and humid that it's able to rise very quickly. And so you see some of the tallest storms in the world. They get 12 to 18 kilometers tall.
A visual spectacle only Mother Nature can orchestrate.
There's a lot of lightning. I don't know how else to explain it than that. We can't even keep count of all of it. It's pretty amazing to watch.
In the sprawling rocky landscape of Jim's escarpment country, Gabrielle, Jeff and the team are still looking for the rock art site.
Something here, like a shelter, cave.
Just found a cave. We'll go check it out.
What do you look like? You look underneath? What is
No, nothing here.
Nothing up here, I can't see anything.
No.
Look like thing, but so nothing, huh?
Even with knowledge of the land, looking for rock art in the maze of sandstone takes time.
When you're out here looking for rock art, you can go on for days and days, you know. Sometimes it's not easy finding rock art.
And with the rising temperatures, time is a luxury they don't have.
It is hard work. It's hot. I wish it would rain. It's so humid. There's not enough clouds in the sky for rain, though. It's the monsoon season without a monsoon. That's why we're all sweating.
There are no exceptions. The extreme heat takes its toll on everyone.
It feels like a mango madness, this heat, especially being on the rocks. Just like a big oven up here.
Yeah, it's very humid enough, so we have to take it steady. We don't want anyone getting real sick. Here it's a long way back to medical help.
Every time I drink water or anything, just comes straight out.
Do you feel like going on, or do you want to go back?
Josh, I've got some stamina. Do you want to put some of that in your water, try and get your electrolytes back up? Once people go downhill, it can get really serious, could mean death.
With Josh on the verge of sunstroke, the crew could be facing a serious problem. In the next episode, the Rangers' search for the rock art site hits a stumbling block.
We didn't find anything this afternoon.
As nature's most extreme elements continue to play out in this rugged vastness,
Anything there?
Nothing.
Rangers battle the brutal onslaught of the heat and the threat of deadly crocodiles.
Do a quick nest inspection. That's Mum right there. Oh, bugger.
Previously on Outback Rangers, extreme temperatures of the build-up season takes its toll on the crew.
It's like a big oven up here.
Do you feel like going on, or do you want to go back?
In this episode,
Big deep one here.
It is.
Rangers continue their quest to find and protect national treasures. And a storm cloud signal an approaching monsoon. It spells not just a blessing, but also potential for trouble. For the crew, it's just the calm before the storm. The escarpment country of Jim Jim District, home to some of Australia's most important cultural artifacts, rock art. Cultural Officer Gabrielle O'Loughlin, Jim Jim Head Ranger Kathy Wilson, and traditional owner and ranger Jeffrey Lee are on an expedition to locate rock art sites. Kakadu's rock art is listed as a UNESCO World Heritage, and rangers must protect it. In this harsh landscape, fires are a big threat, so the team has to clear the bush around the area, or else the art could be destroyed. Temperatures are hitting 40 degrees, and Ranger Josh Taylor is taking all precautions to avoid getting sunstroke.
Cool them down before it gets too hot. It's gonna be a long day. Wrong time of the year, but it's gotta be done.
Could be rubbing up against the art, or could be a...
Jeff takes the team deeper into the country to track down the site. But the further they go, the tougher it gets.
Big deep one here.
It is. How deep is it?
Yeah.
It's wet feet time, everyone. We've got to walk through some water.
Yeah, right, right.
Ben, that's a deep one. It's really hard to do this rock art work. It's incredibly rugged terrain, broken up sandstone, quartzite. You've got pinnacles of rocks and gorges and creeks.
Hours pass with nothing in sight. All Jeff can rely on is his instinct, based on years of living in the bush. But even then, there is no guarantee.
We sort of find a little boulder like this, and that's mainly where you find rock art. I'm gonna go over here. But this is where all that pinnacle gets rough now. You know, look underneath. Any painting there?
Nothing. Can't see anything here.
It's a tough blow for the team.
Sometimes it's quite deceptive. You think there's going to be rock art because there's nice overhangs, but then you get close and there's nothing there. Anything?
Nothing.
We're here. We haven't found anything yet. We are pretty broken. Yeah.
Just then, Josh spots something.
There's something here, look. There.
Hey! Yo!
Got him.
I think he's just found some art.
Mark him.
Kakadu's rock art represents the longest historical record of any group of people in the world. It's testament to tens of thousands of years of Aboriginal culture on the land.
Rock art, you know, it makes me cry. I just break down. And I think back, culture always been with us.
Well, this is a barramundi.
It's interesting because it's not actually a fish to be found in the creeks up the top here, is it?
Barramundi and Jim Falls down the bottom.
So you'd have to get down that escarpment country, wouldn't you? Because sometimes the simple figures just depict a story straight away. So you can just capture what was happening at that time.
For traditional owners like Jeff Lee, it's a discovery that evokes a deep spiritual connection to his ancestors.
Our people's spirit still lives. You can feel it. They're there. They're watching you. You're walking around country, they're watching you and me. Yeah, I get that goosebump. And I know. And that makes me feel really, really proud and really, really happy that my ancestors are looking over our shoulder.
And it's incredible, the art. What is that? It's got a gorgeous long neck, the beak, the hair, and the long legs. That's a lovely drawing.
Being Brolga.
Brolga.
That Brolga, yeah. Yeah, that Brolga. Yeah. You can see that. Argodo, Brolga.
Some of Kakadu's rock art is thought to be up to 20,000 years old. They bear witness to ancient ways of life and also to vanished species.
We have megafauna depicted in the art. There's a long-beaked echidna that no longer exists. And there's a very large kangaroo that used to roam the country, and there are paintings here. So you can go check records, fossil records, to say how old the art might be.
After documenting the art, the team clears the area of potential fire hazards.
I've been here with that old man now.
It's been a long yet fulfilling morning for the crew. For another team, their day is just about to begin. February in Kakadu. Scattered showers during the Gunameleng season signal the approaching monsoon. Water will soon engulf the floodplains, nourishing all of the park's wildlife. For some, it's a season of anticipation. For others, it's also a time of preparation. Kale's Crossing, the only road linking Kakadu and Arnhem Land. "50 vehicles cross here every day, but as the water starts to rise, so do the risks. Rangers Matt Dunn and Annie Taylor are on the scene to check if the rising water has reached a dangerous level.
One of the biggest issues we've got in terms of visitor safety is water crossings, people crossing at the wrong time, wrong vehicles, not experienced in water crossings, not confident in the vehicles they're in and the depth of the water when they do the crossing. But the other thing too is you can clearly see that the croc risk is here, it's evident.
The crossing will soon be closed off during the wet season, causing many to brave the currents now.
You're not here, don't pretend you're not here.
I was trying to get him and it's just, he wouldn't stop it. Just a bit risky. A big vehicle like that with such a big surface area, there's too much current, they can get washed off. You see the crocs working here. Yeah, it's just safety risk, and we've got to either try and get the vehicle in to get them out or try and throw a boat straight in. And sometimes to be able to go back, get a boat, put it in, can take sort of half an hour to 45 minutes of them sitting in their car, you know, croc-infested waters, so just risky.
With no mobile phone reception in the area, help could be hours away for stranded drivers.
Wrong vehicle could be in trouble going through this water, but sort of once it gets up around 500 and above, that 800, 900 mark's probably the mark where people start getting washed off, because it's the sheer volume of water coming across here. It's just risky, and people put themselves in that situation, inevitably someone's going to get washed off.
For now, the water isn't at its most dangerous level, but it's only a matter of time. As the water levels rise across many parts of Kakadu, saltwater crocs will soon be able to move from the tidal rivers into the park's vast floodplains. To better manage the safety of visitors, rangers must understand the crocs' movements. Park headquarters. Croc management expert Gary Lidner is monitoring a croc he tagged some weeks back.
Give it a... He's on, Billy. Yep.
Brand new white mould with an aerial, and this one's just distinct. We've called this Crocodile Nigel, and where we captured the croc on the night, he was by himself. Well, Nigel's got plenty of other crocs around him, but whether they want to know him or not's another thing. So yeah, we're very excited to see where Nigel goes, see if he's got any friends. And yeah.
During the coming wet season, Gary will gather crucial intel on Nigel's movements. As a croc management expert, Gary's interested in human-croc interaction on so many levels, especially when another event is underway, crocodile nesting season. From December to March each year, female crocs build nests along the rivers. Their protective instinct leads them to keep a watchful eye from an imminent threat. Salty hides are the most valuable in the world. Crocodiles are farmed from eggs collected in the wild and their skins sold to the fashion industry. With a permit, croc egg collecting is perfectly legal, but not in Kakadu. Here, it's off limits. Still, the park's protected breeding grounds attract its share of poachers. During this busy season, it's Gary's duty to monitor the situation. He's joined by compliance manager Andrew Wellings. The South Alligator River is their target. They need to scan the riverbanks for croc nests.
There's got to be a nest, eh? There.
Looks like a bit of a cleared area.
That one?
Within minutes, they spot one.
There is.
Yeah. Good nest, eh?
Yeah, that's a ripper.
Gary and Andrew need to check if the nest has been raided. If it has, it will mean that poachers are on the prowl.
Just keep an eye out. Mum might come running out shortly.
Mother crocs are both highly protective and territorial. They're known to attack anything that comes near their eggs.
You loaded, are you?
That's what Mum's up to.
Yeah, just whack the grass a bit, Andrew, see if you can flush her out. I'll just keep her in gear up against the bank.
Yeah, that's good, because I might want to get back on board quickly.
It's pretty dangerous. We're trying to work out where the female is. She might have already gone under a tree up there, but she might also charge.
There's a fresh track at the back down here.
Okay. Any sign of her?
Nah, looks all right, Gary. There's no wallow or nothing.
Yeah, I can smell her. I reckon she's in the water here.
Yeah.
There. That's Mum right there.
Yeah. Oh, bugger. Oh.
Even though she's a bit wary, she's also very interested in what we're doing with her nest.
Yeah.
We've seen her now, so we know where she is.
Yeah.
But she's seen us, which sort of...
Yeah, she's had a good look at us, good size up of us.
Well, she's gone down, so Andrew's going to be on full alert, because she could do a full charge up the bank and have a snap. Dangerous. So We'll do a quick nest inspection and get out of here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can see here she's laid a good clutch of eggs. We'll GPS it as well.
We do monitor our nests across the park. You know, there's lots of temptation by some people to raid nests. If each egg's worth, you know, 25 to 50 bucks each. Taking the eggs out of this nest could be pretty profitable.
You just land here with a helicopter, open the nest up, rip the eggs out, and then you're gone. But it's a high-risk sort of activity.
And there's significant penalties. You can fine, maybe even jail. So it's nothing light. It's a big game.
Fortunately, the nest hasn't been raided yet. But poachers aren't the only problem.
I see a number of eggs here that have already died, probably from heat stress. See the brown ones here, like that's a dead egg, that one.
Bad news for Mother Croc. Already, out of each clutch of eggs, less than 1% will make it to maturity in the wild.
And things happen. If a croc survives out of this nest, it might grow into a 16-footer one day or a 3-metre female. But it's got to run the gauntlet of life to get to that stage. And once a croc gets pretty big, it's well and truly earned its right to be, you know, a boss croc.
And Mum will do everything she can to give them that chance.
You can see here, she'll stay on this nest for about 3 months. They'll start making a noise from within the egg, and the mother will dig the nest out, and the young will hatch, and they'll stay with Mum for, you know, a couple of months or more. So she's pretty protective even after birth. She's looking now.
Everyone wants to get going.
All right, let's go.
A thunderstorm is brewing on the horizon, so rangers call it a day.
Beautiful day. That's what we've been after for a while, eh? Oh, well. We got enough money to buy raincoats this year or what? Nah. Starting back to garbage bags.
Garbage
Good
bags.
old days.
Oh, another day at work. Different time of year.
The irregular rains are pushing humidity levels sky high. In Jim Jim district, 70 kilometers away, naturalist Ian Morris is out conducting a survey. It's a great time to study how the park's wildlife is changing in this transitional season.
It's about 100% humidity, just the way we like it, really. We've had a few teasing storms that have dropped a few millimetres of rain here and there. Nothing substantial as yet, but that's enough to sort of excite everything.
Turns out, the build-up season creates the perfect conditions for some species to flourish.
These Dronaria ferns are a good example of plants that respond to increase in the build-up. They've probably got little timers in them. They probably don't need to have any rain. But at this particular time of the year, Gunnamalling, rain or no rain, off they go. It's a whole sort of expectation, anticipation season. Yeah, what happens in the insect world when you get the rise in the humidity, as we got a week or two back, is that they're free to get out and do stuff.
Kakadu is home to over 10,000 insect species. For one of them, it's an ideal time for some home improvements.
What we have here, this is a termite mound, one of about 30-odd species that we get in this area. This time of year, when the rain comes, the first showers soak into the ground, the moisture penetrates, the termites underground collect that damp soil and bring it up. They'll build an area that size on top of their mound.
These mounds help control airflow and temperature in the extensive network of underground tunnels.
Maybe a week later, they'll do another slab somewhere else and another slab, and slowly the mound grows to its full height. And that might take 50 years.
With the ability to grow up to 6 meters, these expanding mounds are Mother Nature's way of saying monsoon is coming. With torrential storms due to arrive any day now, rangers must prepare the park for the coming deluge. East Alligator District, Rangers Matt Dunn and Annie Taylor have their hands full. The roads here act as vital gateways to popular tourist spots and campgrounds. But during the wet season, they become prone to severe flooding, making them impassable. To prevent this from happening, rangers must carry out regular maintenance work on the roads.
Yeah, well, this time of year, we're sort of transitioning to our weed season. When the rain does come in, we've got a lot of sites we've got to start getting access to, so it can be cart and gravel up and back to put on some of these boggy spots, so hopefully we get access all wet season.
They must increase the elevation of the roads so vehicles can still pass through.
Out in this district of East Alligator, wet season can become a bit of a challenge. That's why we've got the Magilla and the S-bends which come up and flood and basically lock us in for the wet season. And need to get boats down here to be able to get access over to Jabiru. And then 20 kilometres this way, obviously we've got Kale's Crossing, and that itself is a bit more of a dangerous river system. It's got a lot more flow, and when that water comes up, that's when we'll get people starting to get washed off the crossing, which can present a huge safety risk. The wet season hasn't got here yet. We're still waiting for that water to come up, but you can bet that someone will get washed off there trying to get across at the wrong time and the wrong tide. Big risk of crocodiles in that river as well.
At Kale's Crossing, Matt's fear has turned to reality. Water has risen to a dangerous level, but some have chosen to brave the currents. This driver's miscalculation could cost him his car and his life. With water levels rising fast, locals have little time to salvage the vehicle themselves. The car is wedged too deep for the rescue vehicle. They must think of an alternative quickly. It's a hard lesson for everyone. In the next episode, the monsoon finally makes a grand appearance.
Here it comes, magic time of year.
The rains bring comfort and relief to the top end. But it could also mean disaster for the stranded.
Yeah, where's your location and which track's got the trees across it?
For the Rangers, it's the start of another busy season. Previously on Outback Rangers.
Any sign of her?
As seasons change, Kakadu Rangers launch a crucial patrol on poachers.
3, 4.
That's Mum right there. Oh, bugger.
While preparing the park for the coming deluge.
We've got a lot of sites we've got to start getting access to.
In this episode, the long-anticipated monsoon finally arrives. But with it, new problems.
Plenty of trees down today. You don't count because it becomes depressing otherwise.
Rangers must head out to clear blocked roads, while another crew race to control an invasive species. The Outback Rangers gear up to deal with the havoc brought on by the big wet. March in Kakadu. After a record dry season, the monsoon has finally arrived. Torrential rainfall turns parched earth into thriving wetlands. It's a perfect time for the jacana to nest and the magpie geese to mate. As the river system becomes inundated, plants flourish. Speargrass grows over 2 meters tall and native plants flower. But in this wet environment, something else also thrives. Something that threatens Kakadu's fragile ecosystem. An invasive weed called Mimosa. Senior Ranger Buck Salau, along with Ranger Fred Hunter, are charged with an important mission: to search and destroy Mimosa. It competes with native plants and blocks access to food sources and habitat for animals. If left unchecked, Mimosa has the potential to devastate the wetlands.
If you had Mimosa, well, nothing goes there. It just takes over. There's no bird life. Like magpie geese can't nest, feed and all that in the floodplain, so that's probably the most important thing.
4 Mile Hole, South Alligator District. Buck and Fred are monitoring floodplains where the weeds were previously found. Today they'll travel 150 kilometers. They need to get to the Mimosa fast before they start to drop their seeds.
Two airboats working, mostly all wet season with 2 teams. That's the only way we can get to Mimosa.
If things do happen out here, that's why we carry sat phones and we've got radios for emergencies. Well, you just got to make sure when you're cruising through, just be careful and just pod along. But anything can happen out here.
You're on water, so basically if you do break down, you can't just pile over and walk off home because it's full of crocodiles here, this swamp, and that's a big area.
Basically, we come and check this plot many times as we can. As you can see, we've got one plant here. It's only a seedling. This is how we like to find them. It hasn't dropped any seeds.
Good news for the Rangers so far. But it's still early in the day, and there's no telling if the rest of the floodplains are as lucky. At the East Alligator District, researcher Tegan Cremona has an equally important task.
Sleeping's getting stronger, which means that we're getting a lot closer to the location of the quoll.
Tegan has been studying the quoll population in this district. Over the last year, she has tagged 7 quolls with radio tracking devices. This morning, she's out to check on them.
These juveniles that we've been tracking, their mums have been toad trained, but the offspring themselves have not been toad trained. So that's what we're really looking at, is if they've learnt without us intervening.
The northern quoll population had been declining for many years, but when the toxic cane toad arrived in 2001, their decline went into free fall. Cane toads thrive in the wet season, so it's a critical time for the young quoll's survival. It's a crucial job, but what really motivates Tegan is her affection for these tiny marsupials.
I've always been fascinated with carnivorous marsupials. I like quolls because they're not your typical marsupial. They're not a kangaroo hopping around. They've got a bit of fire in them. They're a bit feisty. They'll chase down a rat and have it for dinner. I try not to be a hermit, but yeah, when you're out here alone, you end up a bit like a hermit. The only living things I see are quolls. They're part of my family now. Look forward to seeing them every day.
picking up a double beak, which means the collar's been still for at least 8 hours. Could mean two things. If the collar's fallen off, it could be just sitting in the grass somewhere, and we shouldn't have too much trouble finding it. But the other alternative is that a quoll has died.
A dead quoll would be bad news for an already fragile population.
Must be here somewhere. Oh no. Oh, we've got a little quoll here that's been killed by something. Like maybe a dingo or a wild dog. It's almost been torn in half. Looks like a female. It is just really devastating. We've been following this baby basically since it became independent. And this is a small population, so every single quoll that dies has a huge impact. So especially female quolls, there's just so few of them, and we really need the females to hang on that bit longer to reproduce in the next year.
It's heartbreaking news, but there may be a silver lining.
And this quoll hasn't died from a cane toad, so that's a positive thing. This quoll might have been avoiding cane toads, and it's just been unlucky to get snatched by a predator. It would be a very sad day to see a species like the northern quoll disappear. It is important that we do everything we can to help the quolls.
The big wet is also the ideal time to study another endangered population. South Alligator River, the only fully protected river system in Australia, home to a number of vulnerable wildlife species, including river sharks.
And another one.
Fish biologist Peter Kine and Grant Johnson are from the National Environmental Research Program. They have been studying the river shark population in the South Alligator River system. They're on the lookout for the elusive spear-toothed shark, a critically endangered species so elusive that no one has ever seen an adult.
Got a shark?
Peter and Grant need to find out more about this rarely encountered species, even if it means staking out crocodile-infested waters.
GLA 015. We're doing some surveys for river sharks and sawfish out here on the South Alligator. So sharks and ray are primarily marine species, and there's only a handful of them that get into fresh water and into rivers. The reason we're working on these species here is to try and get better information to guide and try and recover the populations. We can't recover them until we sort of know what the actual status is. These rivers act as a nursery area for the young. Since if we wanted to conserve or manage the entire life cycle of these species, we really need to know where those adults are, where they're going. It's nice when they're released, you see that nice little kick-off means they're nice and healthy, so it hasn't been too traumatic for it. Yeah. There's a barramundi caught in the net here. Get them out quickly because they attract the crocodiles. Easy feed for the crocs. It's not a bad office, really, is it? No, it's not the easiest place to work with mud and crocodiles and lots of things trying to bite you, but it's yeah, no, it's exciting to look and see what's in there. Murky water hides a lot of things. Yeah, makes life interesting. All right. All right, and another one. Excellent. Yeah, well, we've captured 2 spear-tooth sharks so far. Still a bit of fishing time to go, so given the rarity of the species, that's actually not a bad day already. Well, it looks like there's rain coming. It certainly cools things down a bit. be good to have some rain.
This is the best part about it, mate. Yeah.
The South Alligator River system is one of only a handful of places in the world this shark has been recorded. But the elusive 2.5-meter adult is still to be found. Back at 4 Mile Hole, Buck and Fred are forging ahead with their search and destroy mission. They need to find and remove the mimosa before the plants drop thousands of seeds into the floodplains. One way to spot a mimosa, its touch-induced movement.
So it's one way of identifying a mimosa plant. They've got prickles on them, of course. Let's see. And that's all it is. This one plant, if it grew to mature and seeded, that means that we're looking at a possible seed bank of another 25, 30 years. It's probably 12, 15 years old, this particular area here, where there's been a seeded plant. So just to come back and find that one, very satisfying. It's a really good find today. It's well worth just being able to find our way in here.
Searching for the mimosa is a laborious task. The rangers need to be alert at all times.
When I first came to Kakadu, there was thousands of buffalo. In the early days, some of the larger infestations of mimosa, we actually found buffalo were getting in them. With the mimosa seed, it would stick to their hair, on their bodies, and also the mud. And we were starting to find mimosa plants growing out of buffalo wallows, so they were transporting the seed as well. So yeah, so we do cull them for that reason.
To stop buffaloes from trampling Kakadu's wetlands, their numbers have to be kept under control.
They are an introduced species and their numbers can build up very quickly. The job's done because it has to be done to protect our wetlands.
The rangers call it a day and return to their home for the past 4 days, the campsite.
Yeah, this area here, we camp probably 3 times a year during the wet season for airboating. We usually come down because you can't come in every day, bog up the road, so if you come in here, we usually try and stay for a while. No. Oh, God. The storm coming, you can hear thunder over here behind us and over this way here. It looks like we're going to cob it. You're going to get hit by lightning, all right? We'll survive it. We've been pretty lucky here, haven't we?
Buck and Fred are worried the torrential rain and wind could cause a major problem. Fallen trees.
Fred Hunter, you can't spoke. That storm last night dropped a whole heap of trees on the road.
Yeah, copy that. We'll organise a crew and we'll see if we can get through today and meet up with you partway along the track or in where you're at. Yeah, the access has just been blocked, so we'll go and get rid of a few trees and make it a bit easy for them to get out.
Khan Spokes from the South Alligator Station is leading this roadblock operation. Khan and his team have no time to waste. They need to clear the trees that were knocked down by last night's storm.
Plenty of trees down today. The storm's an annual event that happens every wet season. For Freddie and those guys, it can become a real issue if something belts through, knocks it down a heap of trees and locks them in for a couple of days. And worst case scenario, yeah, they could be stuck for 3 or 4 days clearing trees. So we try and help out as much as we can because the job they are doing is so demanding. This one's got a couple of issues. This tree got another dead tree hanging top end of it here. So as I drop that one may pull out of that iron bark there and the iron wood. If we get plenty of these things, it could be a very long day in the sun. Slide, I'm not going to cut right through. What I want to do is just try and give that a weak point so that when the whole thing does go, it'll drop, and that will snap, and that'll fall, and I won't be there. That's the plan.
The work is time-consuming. With Buck and Fred trapped at 4 Mile Hole, Khan and his team need to move fast to reach them before nightfall.
It worked well. Doesn't always go to plan like that, but occasionally it does. And if we get to where Freddie and Buck are, they'll be happy. Otherwise, they'll be waiting still till tomorrow.
With the Weeds team finally able to head home, the Rangers can now call it a day. Nighttime on the South Alligator. The air is filled with sounds marking the wet season. Inactive during the dry months, many of Kakadu's frogs are now awakened by the rain and the explosion of insects it brings. Naturalist Ian Morris and ranger Anne O'Day are out tonight to see if the frogs have come out of their hibernation. Ian has a special skill, recognizing frog calls.
And it'll be interesting just to see who's around here at the beginning of their main activity period, which is the season of good yelp.
They stumble across one of the neighborhood's noisiest residents, the carpenter frog.
Hello. This is in the banjo frog family, unique to this sandstone country, both here and in the Kimberley to our west. The carpenter frog is very distinctive because it has a call that just sounds like somebody hammering wood. Every frog species has its own language, and we learn their calls very quickly because you need to be able to go into an area and do a quick survey of what's happening and who's there. We know all our frogs, all the known species. It's like members of your own family. You know their voice. Even if you're blindfolded, you know their voice. Hear the noise like a little canary? It's the one we want. It's called the masked cave frog.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see one of these.
The masked cave frog is one of many species endemic to this area. Monitoring them is vital.
When you're calling, you're signalling to both the other males of your species and the females that you've got good breeding habitat around you, but you're also letting all your predators know where you are. We've got quite a few snakes that are frog specialists, and so that sound draws them in. Hear that? That's it. Masked cave frog. There's one hopping towards me now. They have a call, a little trilling call, a little bit like a canary. One of our really unique frogs that's only found in this area, nowhere else in Australia. They're just starting to get excited now for the first time this year.
Kakadu gets under your skin, you know. Every place here just is different at all times of years. You can never have been to each place enough because it's not always the same. It's always changing, especially throughout the seasons.
Back at the East Alligator District, Tegan Cremona presses on to check on her little friends.
What we're hoping is the quolls that we've trained will have babies. And not only will the trained quolls survive, but the babies will also learn to avoid toads, and they can survive to reproduce as well.
The first few traps come up empty.
Not long after we started tracking them, we did have a few quolls die, killed by predators. The wet season can be a pretty tough time for the quolls because there's lots of hungry animals out there and there's lots of toads as well. So I'm really concerned about the future of this population.
It's not a promising sign for the fragile population, but Kakadu has a habit of revealing the unexpected.
Oh, looks like we've got a quoll. We got one. This is awesome news. She's gorgeous. She's one of the ones we've been following, one of the babies from last year. This is one of the ones that's important for the future. This is great. There's living proof here. This is working. She's survived through the toughest time. There's toads around, so they're not eating them. The incredible part of this is that these are wild animals. The fact that we've been able to teach them something, it's just incredible. It's a great success, and there's just so much hope for these guys in the future.
I think the wet season, it can be quite a humbling experience because it's out of your control. It's so dynamic. You don't know what's going to happen. We are humble to this environment. We are ruled by nature. We're not actually manipulating it, changing it in any way. That's what I love about this place, that it's looking after us.
In the next episode, Rangers and the Northern Territory Police maintain law and order within Kakadu.
Just a couple of vehicles have been detected with firearms here. Probably around 120 rounds of ammunition that's unsecured in the back of one of the vehicles.
While just outside Kakadu,
Yeah, look out, Joe, there's a female coming towards the cage.
a croc farmer takes the world's risky business to another level.